Welcome back to the Flow Sports Fix. Ricky Lambert filling in for the Flow Man this week on the Sports Fix. The Flow Man resting up, ready to be a part of the Flow Winter Sports Show when it starts from 4 o'clock right across the network tomorrow here on Flow. Looking forward to that. The Flow Man and the Stat Man back with football on netball and the Flow Winter Sports Show. But the Lamb Man, Ricky Lambert, he's got a bit of a soft spot.
Got a little bit of a soft spot for the Kingston Southeast Saints. They've been battlers. I think it almost comes with the name. Often when you name your club the Saints, I used to be a St Kilda supporter before the Crows came along. So it's pleasing to see that a Saint might be finding his way into the Crows side in the AFL soon. I reckon he'll be getting a run in the Sandful this weekend. Luke Pedler comes from the Kingston Southeast Saints. He's had trouble with some groin issues during the pre-season and almost recovered from an abdominal strain. And now he actually grew up supporting North Melbourne because they're that close to the border. His family were North Melbourne supporters. But he also used to travel every weekend to play cricket for Kensington in the city because he's quite a good cricketer. But he certainly spent his winters playing for the Kingston Saints, and he topped the under-14 goal-scoring record in 2016. That was the year that his under-14 Saints side won the premiership, and he lists that in an article on the Crows website as his current highlight in footy. It always is great for those young kids to get a premiership in their junior years. I'm hoping he can add to those glories with something at a higher sporting level than the under-14 premiership at Kingston. Now, to my understanding, the Saints haven't taken part in finals action for about 12 years and haven't won a premiership since the three-peat in the 1980s. Mind you, I did notice that they won their annual pre-season trial game against Robe about 4 weeks ago. But talking about footy south of the Dukes Highway, looking at the Kowree, Naracoorte, Tatiara Football League, and it's interesting to note, myself as a North Adelaide supporter, that the Thring boys are heading back into this league to play for the Keith Crows. Meanwhile, the Bordertown Roosters have recruited former Souths, Woodville West Torrens and BBH Rams forward Tom Whittlesey, while Kane Cuthbertson's returned to that club after a handful of seasons at Robe. Mundalla, the reigning KNT premiers in 2019, was triumphant in the only season that went ahead in the Limestone Coast, and they're expected to be a serious contender with Nick Davis in charge. The Naracoorte Demons will be hoping for big things this year, with Zach Donnelly in charge for his second season after he started in 2019, while ex-Sturt footballer Rory Taggart will be the prize recruit as Josh Gregg pulls on the Demons jumper once again. And because I've got a soft spot for any team called the Saints, in the Mid-South East Footy League I'll be rooting for the Nangwarry Saints. Luke Thompson's in charge of resurrecting their fortunes after a winless 2019 campaign, and that of course being the last full season that was able to proceed in that league. I don't think the poor old Saints have been able to take a trick lately, so hopefully there's good things coming in Nangwarry in 2021.
Just got to love his optimism, don't you think? Ricky Lambert there. He's also got some netball for us.
The Corowa Rutherglen Kangaroos came away with all the hot cross buns at this Easter fixture as well. They won the A-grade game in a canter, 67-21. A very composed performance by Grace Senior in the ring, thrashing the defence. And there were a number of intercepts by Sophie Hanrahan, and the players and the fans alike had a great day out after about 18 months off. The Roos came away with the goodies in the Bs as well, 55-27, which was a close match in the first couple of quarters. The Roos were also triumphant in the Cs, 62-28, and in the under-17s, there was a much closer game. Corowa Rutherglen 33, coming in ahead of the Wodonga Bulldogs 32. So not much joy for the Wodonga Bulldogs in that particular outing for the men or the women. But gee, I'll bet they were glad just to get out there playing again after a long layoff. Someone else who had a long layoff when they took to the field at the Stall Gift 25 years ago this year was Kathy Freeman. I wanted to reminisce about this fantastic performance after talking about the Stall Gift yesterday. It has been a springboard for some of Australia's sprinting champions. And do yourself a favour if you've got a moment and look at this footage from 1996. A young Kathy Freeman started almost 100 metres behind the rest of the field in her 400-metre race. By the last turn, coming into the final 100, she'd overtaken just the last runner with about 120 metres to spare. She's mowed down the rest of the field and came in just a breath ahead of the front runner in an amazing performance, and it just shows the talent Kathy Freeman had and the kind of shop window you have at the Stall Gift to some of Australia's future sporting talent. Kathy Freeman famously, of course, would go on to win gold at the 2000 Sydney Olympics, an Olympics at which she was not only physically the torchbearer, but also metaphorically as well. And lastly, a shout out to the Ararat Football and Netball Club, the Rats. They're celebrating their 150th year this year. They didn't come away with any joy from their Easter fixture recently, even though they were the hosts. Stoll came away with all the victories, but they are going to have a celebration during this year for their 150th anniversary. Very successful club. They did defect from the Wimmera District Football Association, as it was then called, for 4 or 5 years into the Ballarat Football League. They came back into the Wimmera League, but they were forced to sit out for 1 year as punishment for defecting. They've had a successful record in the Wimmera League, second only to Horsham. Mind you, it's been a while between drinks for the premiership, some 20 years since they last tasted premiership glory.
And who will get premiership glory this year in season 2021? We'll start to unravel that picture when the Flow Man and the Stat Man are in tomorrow with the Flow Winter Sports Show, so make sure you're listening out for that from 4 o'clock right across the Flow Network tomorrow afternoon. We've got AFL tips still to come, the A-League, and also Courtney on her Sports Express.